Hey, I'm Lauren from TastyPC.tv and today we're taking a look at Func's first ever mechanical keyboard, the KB-460. So let's get started. So looking straight at the KB-460 itself, I have to say that I really do love how this keyboard looks, and I think appearance wise it probably rivals the K70 for me out of the keyboards that I've got here. Because even though the K70's got like brushed aluminium and this is just like that kind of like soft touch rubberized plastic, I really love like the red backgrounds around the keys, especially when the LEDs are on. It looks like the keys are just like pulled in this red light. It's just really beautiful, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. But the KB-460 comes with Cherry MX red switches, which are linear, meaning that you don't get the tactile response, and generally speaking they're supposedly the best for gaming on. I'm not really going to go into more detail than that because I am planning on doing a separate Cherry MX switch at some time. But I have asked Func if they're going to be releasing it with different colour Cherry MX switches, and they said if there's high enough demand they'll look into it, so go prod them with whatever colour you want. Brown is the colour you want, by the way. No, I'm joking. Ask them for whatever colour Cherry MX switch is your favourite. But what I am going to do is pull off some of the keycaps to show you switches using a keycap puller from a different keyboard, because this keyboard doesn't come with one. And you can see the Cherry MX switch and the LED mounted into the top. Now I'm not going to pull off any of these to show you the stabilisers because they use coaster stabilisers and I find them really fiddly, but I will let you hear the difference between the the keys with just switches underneath and the keys with both switches and stabilisers. So firstly, completely bottoming out. And then if I do a mixture of just hitting the actuation point and completely bottoming out. Okay, so using the FN key, we've got media buttons here, these 5 profiles here, and what each of these allow you to do is save 10 macros onto the keyboard's onboard memory, so you can have a total of 50. And you do that by downloading the software from the Func website, and then you can make any key apart from the Windows, the Func, or these 6 keys into a macro. And the great thing about saving on the onboard memory is that it means that you can plug it into a different computer and still use the macros without having to re-download the software. And I will take you for a look at the software in a minute, kind of show you how to do it. But if you're, but you can switch profile just by hitting FN and changing between these. And then if you want to use the keyboard normally, again how it is now, just hit FN and the Func mode button. Also, if you're using the keyboard normally, you can hit FN and hit the Func mode, and this will light up and it will lock the Windows key. Okay, so if I show you the back, or so I should say the top of the keyboard, we've got 2 USB connectors, which is always very handy, and you can see we've got a single USB cable here. And this is not only kind of black and braided, but we've got these kind of like orange, or in some lights, kind of peachy stripes, which I really like. I think it's a really kind of great like added touch, and it just looks really funky. But if we look at the back of the keyboard, let's make it so you can see that. Okay, so firstly we've got these 2 rubber grips here, which are going to help give your keyboard grip and stop it from moving around your desk. And we've got these 2 stands here, which feel like they have the like soft touch plastic at the bottom of them as well. Now these 2 slots here are for a wrist rest, and basically how it works is you've got these 2 plastic clips here, and you kind of slot these in and then you put those on your wrist rest. Now the issue that I had, and the reason why I didn't have this video up for embargo date, is because when I was putting the wrist rest on before, one of my clips actually snapped and I had to wait for new ones to arrive so I could show you with the wrist rest. But with all products you have like a failure rate, so at the moment I don't know if I'm just kind of the unlucky person with the product that's like, you know, that 1 in 100 or whatever that was going to fail, or if these are just kind of cheapy weak plastic. So what I'm going to do is after I film this bit, I'm going to put the wrist rest on, take it off, put it on, take it off, and do that like, I don't know, 50 times, and then in the conclusion I'll know and be able to tell you whether I was just unlucky or whether these are like cheapy weak plastic. But if I show you the wrist rest, you've got the same kind of soft touch rubberized plastic as you have with the rest of the keyboard. And even though this bit here is normal plastic, you've got these 3 like rubber pads that come out past it to stop this bit from scratching your desk. But basically you just kind of put these on here like that. So one on there, one on there, and then these, oh, no, sorry, that way, and then these just clip in. I have one there, and one there. Ah, here you go. See, that time didn't snap, so my kind of performance ratio has just gone up slightly, I suppose. And I should say that even though those clips snapped on me and the keyboard itself is quite thin, it's quite like strong. Like, it doesn't feel like the keyboard itself is weak or kind of flimsy or anything like that. But if I just say it like that, so here you go, you can see what it looks like with the wrist rest on. Oh, got a bit of makeup on it. So if I just plug it in so I can show you the LEDs. Okay, so we have now got the LEDs on, and you can actually change their brightness by using the FN key and these two buttons here. And the lowest is completely off, and then you can go higher until like here, which is the highest, and you can see what I mean by like the red light around the keys. It's just really nice. If I turn the light off, that didn't do anything, it was already off. Never mind, but you can see what I mean in this light. Although the lettering themselves, the lighting that comes through is slightly orangey, but around the keys is like a really nice deep red. But these are the different brightness modes. If you then go one higher than the highest, you get into kind of like a breathing, like pulsating mode, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's slower than I would have liked, but I think that for like an active lighting mode, this is one of the few, because of how slow it is, that I could actually have on while I was gaming and it not like distract me from the game. But what I'm going to do now is show you the software. So moving on to the software section, you can see your 5 different profiles, and you can just click on these to switch between them, but I'm going to start in profile 1. So then down here you click which one of your macros you want to use. So if I just click M1, and then you choose which key you want to use. So I'm just going to go for Q because it's right next to the USD. And then if you click on this list, you can kind of assign the key to do something. So I'm going to choose for it to be macro. And then here we've got a list of options. The bottom one allows you to save the macro, the one above it allows you to upload it, and then this one allows you to record. Now, the last time that I played as a cleric in MMO, I had my 2 heals on 3 and 6, because one had a cooldown of 0.3 and one had a cooldown of 0.6, so it's easy to remember. So if I do 3 and 6, and then here I've got options where I can have it to either I press it and it happens once, or it happens continuously while I hold it down, and then this one is I press it and it just keeps doing it until I press it again to stop. So if I select that one, and then that's just going to pretty much spam heal, which is pretty much playing the game for you. That's why I don't really use macros much, but I suppose it's helpful if you've got like all of your buffs on one key. Saves a bit of time, but then you can just save that by clicking apply. So up here you can see, now this one allows you to back up like all of your macros, this one allows you to kind of load all of your macros, and this one here takes you to the Func website. And then down here we've got restore defaults, where obviously you just click on it and it will kind of empty or make like delete all of your saved macros, I suppose. And then when you're done, just hit OK. So now what I'm going to do is just kind of test these new clips and see if they snap at all. So moving on to the conclusion, when I first saw this keyboard I did really love it, and I think for £85 it definitely deserved at least my Sweet award. And then when I heard about the introductory price at £65, I was like, wow, that's epic, it deserves the Tasty award. And you know, even though, you know, at that price, even though I've got one and the clip broke on me, I still want to go buy one. Like, oh, that's crazy. But obviously I can't give a product an award based on kind of like a temporary introductory lower price, and also obviously I've got to take into account the fact the clip broke on me. So the question is do I think the keyboard deserves an award or not? And I wouldn't give a product an award unless I'd recommend it to someone. So I suppose the real question is would I recommend this keyboard to you or not? And that all comes down to, I think, whether you're going to be using the wrist rest, and if you are, whether you're just going to kind of put the wrist rest on the keyboard and leave it on your desk, or if you're going to kind of clip it on, clip it off, clip it on, clip it off, you know, multiple times. Because if you are going to, like, you know, put the wrist rest on, take it off, put it on, take it off on a daily basis, then I wouldn't recommend this keyboard to you. Because even though I couldn't replicate the results, like the clip breaking, even though I was being quite heavy-handed with it just to kind of, you know, be sure, and I imagine that I was just kind of really unlucky, and if you buy it you won't have any problems at all. I still don't want to recommend it to you, you know, just in case. But if you are just going to kind of click the wrist rest on and just leave it on your desk, then you know, it'll be fine. I mean, you know, I was being very heavy-handed, so if you're careful, you shouldn't really have an issue either way. So, but kind of putting that to the side, before the clip broke on me, I was kind of singing this keyboard praises. I was definitely ready to give it a positive review, because to me, it's like, I have no complaints with this keyboard apart from the clip. Like, it's just a well-rounded keyboard, and for example, with my Ducky Shine 2 review, at the time it was nearly twice as expensive as this keyboard's introductory price, and that didn't come with a wrist rest at all. So I don't know if I'm being kind of harsh on the KB-460 and being so critical of the wrist rest when so many keyboards, the manufacturers haven't even bothered to include a wrist rest. And if the KB-460 hadn't come with one, then I wouldn't have had anything negative to say about it at all. So, you know, I do definitely think this keyboard deserves an award, so I'm going to give it the Sweet Award, which is my equivalent of recommended. But, you know, I really love the keyboard, but it all comes down to you and whether, you know, what the risk that you want to take or the chance that the clip could snap. Because, like, for example, for me, I very, very rarely use a wrist rest. Like, I don't think I ever use wrist rests on keyboards. So for me, you know, it's not really a problem at all. But for you, if you're one of those people that needs to use a wrist rest or just like prefers having one, then, you know, it's going to be more of a chance for you. You're going to be a bit more like, what if the clip snaps on me? So really, you need to make up your own mind. But I think that, you know, I do really love this keyboard, and the fact that it snapped didn't bother me at all because I don't use wrist rests. So I think that if you're looking for a mechanical keyboard, you like Ceramics red switches, and you're prepared to take that risk, because, you know, like, I was just very unlucky. I was being really heavy-handed with the practice ones again, or see, you know, for the conclusion, seeing if it would snap, and they didn't, so I was just very unlucky. But yeah, it is really all down to whether you want to take that risk or not. But that was my review of Func's KB-460 mechanical keyboard. If you liked the video, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and want to see more of my videos. And thanks for watching.